he will give me some money. So he goes, I went and I borrowed a small amount of money from this Jewish tailor, and I said to him that I will repay you back in installments. And I did. Every installment was in time, apart from the last 2 dirhams of this installment. Even though I had taken these 2 dirhams, I had put it inside my turban, that every day when I go to Hawza and come back, on my way back home past the tailors, I would give him the money. But every day something would happen, I would forget to give him this money. Every morning I would look at that turban and say, okay, today I will definitely give him his money. Anyway, a few months passed. I went to the shop of the tailor, I looked at the door, it was locked. I asked around the other shopkeepers, where is this Jewish tailor? They said, oh, he passed away 2 days ago. So he said, what am I to do with these 2 dirhams? He said, okay, I will put it in an envelope. I will put it through the door of his shop, because eventually his sons will come to open up, take stock of what was in the shop, to sell the goods, take the money. They will see this envelope, they will take their money. So he goes, I put the money in the envelope. I put it through the door. I went home that night. In my sleep, I saw that it was the day of judgment. And I was being questioned. And he said, I passed everything. The first set of questions was about my namaz. I passed that. The second set of questioning was about the vilayat, the iman, your faith, the book, everything, I passed that. Then it was fasting, I passed that. Then it was hajj, I passed that. One by one, I went through every stages, I passed. They said to me, congratulations, you are now going to heaven. So he goes, I was on the pull of Sirat, on the bridge of Sirat. I was walking over this bridge, I could see the fires of hell underneath my feet. The flames were coming up, I could see it with my own eyes. He goes, I got to the door of the heaven, I saw Amir al-Mu'mineen standing at the door of heaven. Asim al-Nar wal-Jannah. He is the one who decides who goes here, who goes there. He goes, when Amir al-Mu'mineen saw me, he said, salam to me, Sayyid, salam. Because I was Sayyid, related. So he said, salam to me. I said, Alhamdulillah, I am so glad to see you, Amir al-Mu'mineen. I am now going to heaven. I was full of happiness. Amir al-Mu'mineen put his hand up like this. He said, yes, you are going to heaven, but first you have an account that needs to be sorted. I said, I passed all the stations. What is left to be accounted? He said, look down into the fires of hell. He said, I looked down into the fires of hell. I saw this ball of fire coming up towards me. When it came up towards me, I saw a face coming out of that fire. It was the Jewish tailor. When he saw me, he said, Sayyid, thank you for those 2 dirham that my sons got, you put through the door. But I am dead. That money is no benefit to me now. So at least I want to take 2 dirhams worth of your coolness, because I am in the fires of hell. I want to take 2 dirham worth of coolness from you. So he put his hand out. His hand was fire. He put 2 fingers on my shoulder. It burnt me so badly that I jumped up from my sleep. I looked and I saw the fingerprints were still on my shoulder. So when I showed the shopkeeper and I told him what was behind this, he automatically gave. This is amanat. This is security. This is why when Imam s.a.w says that if Shim brings the sword that he killed my father with, and he says to me, take it as amanat, I will come back and take it off you another time, I will give it back to him exactly in the same condition that he gave it to me. This is the knowledge, this is the teachings of Ahl al-Bayt. And how good is it to have this piece of security? Because if we have security in our hearts, Allah will give us strength in iman. وَأَنزَلَ السَّكِينَةُ فِي قُلُوبِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ لِيَزْدَادُ إِيمَانًا مَعَ إِيمَانِهِمْ. If you have this security, iman will increase. Talking about security and a peace of mind, some of you who have traveled to countries like Iraq and Syria, and in particular some of you who have traveled from Damascus to Aleppo, to Halab, or Raqqa, and places like that, you will know the roads going to these places are really wilderness. If anything happens to you on those roads, you are really stuck. And in particular, there is one area in the north of Iran, which is on the borders with Balochistan. It is a very dangerous stretch of roads. There is no security on that road. That if you break down on that road, then God help you. Even if you break down and you stop to get someone else to come and help you, you try to call another car to help you, they will not stop because of the amount of robberies, the amount of killings that has happened on that road. One person said that me and my wife and my young child, we were traveling on one of these roads. And he goes very stupidly, because when you're traveling with a child and with your family going somewhere, you pack everything in the car apart from the essentials that you need sometimes. So he goes very stupidly, I forgot to take extra tanker of petrol with me. So he goes halfway on this road, we broke down. The petrol ran out of the car. There are no petrol stations around. What do I do? What do I do? So I said to my wife, you sit in the car with the child. I will go out, I will try to pull up a car, one of the trucks going past, I will get some petrol from there. So he goes, I went 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, no one stopped. All the cars went by because they were scared, because there was no security, and he can't blame them. So he said, we got to a stage of desperation. I didn't know what to do. Suddenly a thought hit my mind that maybe they will see me, they might get scared, the car will not stop. I said to my wife, give me that young child. Give it to me. So I took the child from my wife, I put it on my hand, and I came to the side of the road and I held the child in my hand. Suddenly the first car that went by saw this child, it took mercy on us, so it stopped. He said, what is wrong? Is there something wrong with your child? He said, no, to be honest with you, we just need petrol. But I said, maybe all the people going past, they may be scared. You might at least have mercy on this child. Therefore, you give me petrol. He said the driver who got out, he was an Iranian man. When he heard this, he started sitting on the ground. He started hitting himself in the face and he said, Mazloom Hussain! Mazloom Hussain! He said, seeing you in the streets, helpless, with this child in your arm, took me to Karbala. When Imam Hussain got to a stage of desperation, he put this child in his hand. He came and stood in front of the army. أما يرونه كيف يتلظى أتشا. Do you not see this child is in the state of taladhi? Do you know what the word taladhi in Arabic means? You know when you go fishing, if you take a fish from the water, it starts flipping up and down when it does not have any water. If you take that fish, if you throw it back in the water, it will die. If you do not put it back in the water, it will still die. It does not make any difference. That in Arabic is the state of taladhi. Imam Hussain said to this army, do you not see this child? It is in the state of taladhi. That means if you give it water, it will still die. If you do not give it water, it will still die. Umar ibn Asad said to Harmala, what are you waiting for? Why do you not answer Hussein? He said, Amir, shall I target Hussein or shall I target the child? He said, do you not see the whiteness of the throat of Ali al-Asqar? How they answered Hussein. When Hussein looked, he saw this child was smiling from ear to ear. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. I hope this doesn't occur for anybody. But if you ever have a sick child, the mother gives you this sick child, he says, take it to the doctor, get the medicine for it and bring it home. I had happened to one of the people I knew. He had a sick child. His wife gave him that child and said, go to the doctor, get some medicine. He said, on the way when I went to the hospital, the child died in my arms. He goes, I do not know how I could go home and say to the mother that this child is now passed away. The same thing happened to Imam Hussain. When he held Ali Asqar in his hand, he did not take it back to the tent where Baba was, because he was so ashamed. They say he came behind the tent, he dug a grave himself, he buried Ali al-Asqar himself. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. But these enemies were so ruthless that Abu Ayyub, who was one of the leaders of the army, when everybody else looted the tents, everybody took a head as a trophy. He said, I cannot have a head because everyone else is taking a head. What do I take for Ibn Ziyad so that I can get my reward? They said, Abu Ayyub, there is still one other head that is not accounted for. He said, which head is that? They said, it is the head of Ali al-Asqar. So he ordered his men to go around and dig up the soil to find the body of this child. Rubab says, I was watching the scene. They got to behind the tents. They dug the ground. They said, I saw one of the men take a spear, put it in the body of Asqar. He took the body of Asqar out with the spear. Abu Ayyub said, let me come and behead this child. لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين فسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون يا رب الحسين بحق الحسين اشف صدر الحسين بظهور الحجة يا رب الحجة بحق الحجة اشف صدر الحجة بظهور الحجة إلهي بدم المظلوم. Imam Sadiq says دم المظلوم is the blood from the throat of Ali al-Asqar. إلهي بدم المظلوم اللهم عجل لوليك الفرج أجل لوليك الفرج أجل لوليك الفرج واجعلنا من أعوانه وأنصاره وشيعته وخادمه. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله.